CPM, or cost per thousand, is probably the most valuable calculation we can make in advertising buys because it allows us to compare cost per click versus cost per view, and that becomes important in most marketing campaigns. The M in CPM is the Roman numeral for 1000, so we are talking about a cost per 1000 when we say CPM, which is the um, vernacular or acronym for all of this calculation within all advertising programs. So it's important to know that it's an M for thousand. So what we are asking for with CPM is that the price of 1000 advertisement impressions, and that means we can compare it to other things. If we were to buy a billboard from Lamar, we would have them give us a price and then an estimate amount of cars that might drive by it, and therefore they'll give us impressions. Same would go for digital or bus transit and airports. So they're giving us prices and saying we expect this many people to view it. Within the traditional newsprint or magazine, that's exactly how we bought. They'd have circulation, and they'd sometimes give you an average amount of readers. A magazine claims to have 2.5 readers per magazine. So that's how you kind of get into the views. Google, on the other hand, in modern day ad campaigns have cost per action or cost per click. And so if we were buying $1.42 clicks, how do we compare that to the value of a billboard on the side of a freeway? And the way we do that is CPM. So when we look at CPM, we are saying it's the cost to the advertiser or the advertising buy times 1000 divided by the impressions. So one example could be that for $1,000, we times that by 1000, and then we divide it by 12,000 impressions. We would get $83.33. In another example, we'd say, well, we had $2,412 spent. We times that by the 1,000, and we had 200,000 impressions made, so that would be $12.06. If we want to compare that to other models, well, there might be other ways to look at that, and so we can compare that by switching the equation around a little bit. In this case, we're using CPM equals the cost of the unit divided by the audience size times 1,000. It's basically the same exact equation. So, for instance, if we had an outdoor banner for $6,000, they gave us an estimate of 250,000 views. We would then times that by 1,000 and come up with $24 per thousand. If we were to buy a Super Bowl ad for $5 million and they had about 119 million viewers, we'd simply divide that and times it by 1,000 again and come up with $42.02. For the Google ad that we gave in another example for our pay-per-click, we took $650, divided it by the 12,000 impressions, that gets us to a number of $54.17. So to compare these advertising models, we're now able to take a dollar amount you can put into a budget. And if we're to spend our dollar wisely in terms of cost and say, well, we want the cheapest cost, well, we would go with the outdoor banner. If we said, well, the cost is kind of interesting, but we really want impressions, well, for $42 per thousand, you can buy that Super Bowl ad and it will get to a lot of eyes. Google Ads is the most expensive here. We are paying $54 per thousand. But we're looking at a performance structure that has actual click ratios. And so a $54 per thousand click-through rate may be many times more valuable than an outdoor banner. It really does depend on your target market and what your call to action is for that. So those costs on a Google ad might not work out because of the cost of your product. An outdoor ad may work out because you can spread that among a lot of products or an event. And so that's the important part about the CPM. You're able to have some dollars tied to your plan. That, of course, has to go into your targeting and into some of the other constraints of your marketing program.